Got it? Okay. O Bhagavad Gita, by which Arjuna was illumined by Lord Krishna himself, and which was composed of 18 chapters from within the Mahabharata by the ancient sage Vyasa. O Divine Mother, destroyer of rebirth, who showers the nectar of oneness upon us. O Bhagavad Gita, my affectionate mother, on thee I meditate. All the Upanishads are the cows. The milker is the cowherd boy, Krishna. Arjuna is the calf. People of purified intellect are the drinkers. And the milk is the supreme nectar of the Gita. My salutations to the Lord, who is the source of supreme bliss, whose grace makes the mute eloquent and the crippled cross mountains. Hari Om Tat Sat. So we actually had a little recap yesterday morning. The Bhagavad Gita, the story, the teaching, starts, chapter 1, with Arjuna facing his duty, and it's a big one because he's on the battlefield, but I don't know that it's any bigger than any of the ones that we have. And faced with it, and faced with very difficult choices, he experiences within him the reactive tendencies, so he experiences fear, grief, all of this. And he does what, Kartikeya? He does what?
Freaks out.
Freaks out.
What's in front of him?
Thank you, Sage Kartikeya. So, and this is this time that we're in, this Kali Yuga, but this particular time is a time where we're all kind of borderline freaking out. Borderline or over the border, one or the other. How many messages? I received a message yesterday from one of our dear friends who says, I need to get out of the world. This is such a common refrain in this time. And this is exactly what Arjuna says on the battlefield. He says, I can't, this is ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense anyway. Yeah. Well, it's not just that duty. I mean, don't we all experience this? It doesn't make any sense anyway. Yeah, and then the fears that rise up within us and assert in different voices. And And so here, once again, in the 18th, the slokas that we pick up today, Lord Krishna is telling us, if we can listen, that the way out is not the way we think it is. In other words, it's not running away and doing something different or not doing anything. The way out is to recognize that you are not doing anyway. That's wisdom. And practice, yes, practice to do our duty. That's the practice. And then the rest that he shares with us. And this is what we talk about in 56 today, which is continuing refrain. 56, doing, and this is the path of freedom. He's very clear, this is the way out. What we want, really, is to get out of this mess that we find ourselves in. Whatever it is, whatever is the nature of the mess. Whatever is causing discomfort within you, you want to be free of that discomfort, correct? Yeah, okay. Does anyone here not experience discomfort? So this is why it's universal teaching, because in this way we're all Arjuna. We're all experiencing discomfort, and these voices inside, very conflicting, but a very loud one, very, very present one, will say, leave what it is that's causing the disturbance. So leave the family. It'll say that. Leave the situation. Leave the ashram. Leave the whatever. Leave the battlefield. It'll say that. And so it's clear that we want to be free of that which is causing the disturbance. But what is it that's causing the disturbance? Who wants to say? All right, what's causing the disturbance?
It's the mind.
And why?
Because it doesn't know the truth.
Because it doesn't know the truth. So, which is?
Which is who you are.
Yeah, who you are. You're not the body. You're not this emotional being. You're not this mental being. You're eternal. Everything you ever wanted is inside you. Kingdom inside. That's the truth of the situation. And it's stark. It's stark, when we get to stark. I don't mean dark. If it's sounding that way, I'm trying to say it again. It's stark. It's so much different than what we take it to be. So completely different. When we get to chapter 2, and what Lord Krishna does first with Arjuna is he tells him exactly this. Arjuna, my dear, I love you, and you don't get it. There has never been a time when you have not been, nor me, nor all of this. And then if we check in, we say, what does that mean? It means you're eternal. It means that the kingdom is within. You won't find it out here until you find it within. And then, of course, the teaching continues in terms of how to actualize this, right? How to realize it, how to get it. But it's so stark. And here's the thing, the self cannot be wetted. It cannot be burned. It cannot be cut. It cannot be killed. It cannot get its feelings hurt. And if you remove all of this stuff, well, he said, she said, if only, if that weren't an issue, if nothing could happen to you that could take you out of the zone, really, then what's all this stuff about? And you get back to, it's imaginary stuff. It's stuff that I'm cooking up in the mental factory. We even discussed yesterday and the day before that fear, which is one of the greatest of these, is just an imagination about what could happen, right? Or what might not happen. You see it? Fear doesn't even exist, not really, not in the moment. And so we come to face, this is it. The cause of my suffering is my own self, in the sense of the mental factory, the emotional factory, all of this. And so, and we say, we were talking about yesterday morning, we come to the place, bless you, we come to the place where we have to eventually see, because we're going to suffer until we get here, and that's what's evolution. There's one force that's pushing on us to wake up. Eventually we're going to see, I really have nothing to be afraid of, but the fear is here. Even if we forgot all of this and we actually looked at our life, we would see, it always works out. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you something that'll sound really really weird. But even for the poor souls in Ukraine who are suffering terribly, it works out. That is, there's always relief in the end. Whatever the situation is, there's always relief in the end. It always has a way of working out. It doesn't work out the way you want it to. But when you find yourself in the moment, if you can actually be in the moment, you see, I'm fine. I'm fine. What happened to me, happened to me. But here I am, and I'm fine. And so our difficulty is related to all of the stuff here, the imaginations, the posturing, all of the stuff I'm saying that I need in order to be happy, which is actually veiling the happiness itself. And it doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. It's the opposite of that. In fact, when he gives the formula, what's the way out? He says like this, once again, he says, doing all actions always. So whatever it is that we're to do, it doesn't make any difference what we're to do. You're in school. You should be in school. I mean, not right now, it's Sunday. We're not complaining. What is your duty right now? Your duty is to be a good student, right? Jai. There's a simplicity to that many don't experience at this moment. But that's our duty. For some of us, it's very hard to see what our duty is, and we have to meditate upon it and ask questions and like this, but it's with us. We can always find it if we'll do the work to find it. Get out of our heads more and look at the position in life that we're placed in, and so whatever is your duty, do that. This is where he starts with the highest teaching. The highest teaching in all of the spiritual books, teaching, sages, saints, is whatever you're placed in, do your duty. All of the actions, not just some of them, all of the actions that are called for. And he says, always. Now that's a hard one. But I have a cold, he says, always. But I don't feel like it today. Always. Yeah. And then the stuff arises again. But it's what he's saying. But then he gives the key, taking refuge in me. Taking refuge in me.
Swami, there's this other side of that where a lot of Western culture kind of pushes way too hard, and so if your company is giving you a duty and it's doing this thing, but it's really pushing and overtaxing on the body, and the body kind of revolts. So when you get sick because you push too hard, because your boss has pushed you, and there's just so much pressure in the situation, it seems like the duty would actually be to stop and take care of yourself and be actually this is. Yeah,
I hear you, and Arjuna says exactly that. And he's in the middle of the battlefield, for goodness sakes. So you tell me when he gets a day off for caring for himself. I hear you. I hear you. And Lord Krishna hears Arjuna, and he says, I'm telling you what you're suffering from. It's not what you think you're suffering from. This is very shocking. Really it is. But if we're going to hear it, we just allow ourselves to hear it, and then we make our choices. But this is what he's sharing. You're not that body. You can do whatever you want to that body. It won't give you the happiness that you seek. Nothing you can do to it. It lasts a little while. It has a purpose which relates to our duty, whatever is our duty. And yeah, we might be in the wrong job, but recognize that when we're in the heat of it, the heat we're experiencing is our stuff saying, I need this, I need that. And Lord Krishna says, no, you need me. That's what he's saying. You need me. You're trying to live your life apart from me. This is the Lord speaking. You're trying to live your life apart from me. And you can't be successful in that. I am you. You are me. But you've forgotten this, he says. Everything that you take, your body, it's not your body. It's not your body. Your pain is not even your pain.
So what about like the studies that have come from like Sweden and stuff where they've shown that a 4-day work week actually makes a person more productive and effective at their job, right? So like they're actually like being able to do more work and they're actually able to accomplish their duty better by like taking more time and taking breaks and having those pauses.
So it's not about doing your duty in order to get something from it. It's not about productivity. It's not about how much is getting done. This is a teaching on freedom.
Sometimes that...
It doesn't have anything to do with what you're doing or how productive you are at it or how well you do it. It has to do with being free of the veiling. That's all it has to do with. The world will go on, nature will go on, you do your job, you don't do your job. The question is related to your freedom. And you say you're suffering from pain, okay, fine. How to avoid it? You can do all you wish to maintain the body. You can't avoid it. I speak with a 70-year-old body, and I assure you that you cannot avoid it. It's naive to think that you can. Huh? And how can you do nothing? You're really going to have someone bring you food every day? The world will give you your duty. And yours is not in an office right now, is it? You're going to tell Dow, 4 days a week, buddy. You're on your own the other 3. You see? And look at the stuff that happens in the mind. It's the fear, the anticipation, but, trying to craft some situation other than the one we have. So he's not saying go do somebody else's duty. He already said don't do that. He just said do yours. And yours should be obvious to you.
And not more than your duty.
Yeah, not more than your duty. Don't try to create. But do it, all of it, all of it. Take refuge in me. Take refuge in me. Take refuge in your own highest self, not the mental factory, not the emotional stuff, not the body. Lord knows, after a while, you'll figure out the body is not a place of refuge, for goodness sakes. Before long, you'll be taking not just pain pills to take in order to be able to take refuge in the body. You'll be taking mood elevators. You'll be taking pills for psychosis. These are the most popular drugs today. In order to take refuge in the body. Because the body is just temporal. Whatever you do, you can't. And finally, I read this morning that kids now, so much psychosis in society today, that so many psychic breaks and like this, that kids that have young teenagers, etc., that have really severe mental issues in terms of the ability to cope, that they're sleeping in the emergency rooms of the hospitals in the country. So in order to get off the street. So we can't take refuge in society. We can't take refuge in anything other than God, finally.
Can you just explain for me the Bible says, to take care of this vessel. So what's the balance?
That is the temple. How do you care for a temple? How do you care for a car? Detached. It's not me. It's a temple. It's not me. Like that. And then you have to care for it. You have to care for it. Just like if you want a car, and it's limited time, right? So 100 years, 80 years, whatever it is. You want a car to last 100,000 miles. You can buy a car and the car, and you can take the attitude like many of us will that, well, I only need it for the year. And so oil and all that, checking the fluid levels. This is like the ashram people do with the van. It's not mine. So I don't care. I don't check the oil. Why do I need to wash the car? Really? That's what they do. So, really? It's not mine. Why does it make any difference? I tell you it's God's. Doesn't seem to make any difference. Can't relate to that. Well, it just means it's not mine. I don't have to care for it. So, no, the teaching is not telling you that, dear. Not with the body. No, it's not saying that. It's saying that this is the vessel. This is the holy vessel. The sacred vessel. And so, what to do with it? Well, if you actually had to make payments on the car and care for the car, and you knew that it was important when you picked up a gas that you would have said that something wasn't working in the car, like the air conditioning, it wasn't working. If you thought that was important, then you would do something about it. So if someone buys a car and says, I'm going to drive it for a couple 100,000 miles, this is my car, you have to care for it, then you check the oil, you maintain it, right? Same with the body. Same with the body. But it's not who you are. And then we do get into this thing when we talk about this, you're not the body. It's like people here, there's so much tamas, there's so much laziness. People here, well, then I don't do anything. No, my dear. No, just because it's not yours doesn't mean you don't do anything to maintain it. It doesn't mean that. Really, it's bigger than that. The body is God's body. Your life is God's life. And so the idea, the notion of a limited life is not real. We have to take refuge in what's higher. But taking refuge in what's higher and doing our duty means I check the oil. When it gets low on gas, I put gas in it. Yeah, that's what it means. So when it needs food, you feed it. But at no time do you want to be confused about, it's me. And that's what we're suffering from. That's what we're suffering from. Is this limited life where this is me. And so I'm doing for me, and ego sense will say, I have to put me first because I'm separate, I'm alone, I'm incomplete, I'm needing something here, I'm on the prowl for what it is. It'll do like this. And that's a false notion. But it's also not said, well, then don't care about it. No. Take refuge in the highest. Care about the highest because that is your life. That is where your life comes from.
Yeah, everything is sacred reverence.
Yeah. And you're one with it. And freedom is realizing this. Realizing it in such a way as we never forget it again. In an integrated way, in a whole way. And so this is what's shared in 56 and 57. He's giving the key. He says, doing all actions always, because through grace I give them to you. And you can keep the mind occupied by doing it. And the body occupied. Take refuge in me, the highest. By my grace, such a one obtains the eternal indestructible state or abode, mentally renouncing all actions in me, having me as the highest goal, resorting to the yoga of discrimination, discernment, viveka. Do thou ever fix thy mind on me. So recognizing, finally, really, that that which you can't see with the senses, but that which sees by the senses. Recognizing that I, this eternal I, this, which is the same I that each of us are experiencing in the center of our being. That's where sometimes, it's said in the Christian tradition, for example, that God is closer than our jugular vein, like this, closer than our breath. Because the I, that's where we find God. The I am. And recognizing this, dedicating to it, just as Jesus says, serve the Lord thy God, which is not a part. And it's not the little I. With all of thy heart, all thy soul, all thy mind. In other words, taking refuge. What do we want to do for? Why to do? I do for thee. And you're not apart from me. You see, we have an idea, thee means apart from me. No, not. I do for thee. This is all yours anyway. I'm here, I'm a caretaker for this time. But even this I is really you. And so we get to hear shortly again Lord Krishna saying, think only of me, and this is the way out. Think only of me. In other words, see me in Tao. And use Tao as an opportunity to think only of me. Right? You have flashes of this, I know. So more and more. Not as a separate something, but as the real divinity in form. And the form itself even made of the divinity, even crafted of the divinity. And the motion, the laughter, who's laughing here? Can you see who's laughing? And can you see who's crying? Yeah. You see who's crying. So think only of me. Devote yourself to me, because I am your mother, father. I am your all in all. And the offerings, we were laughing the other day. Gopala picked up on this one. We were chatting about it. The one about who's doing everything here. We have this notion, I did this, so I get that for it. And we explored on that day that actually I did nothing. Christ did everything. And therefore, I get exactly what I deserve, which is nothing. And you get it all. So that's the offering. And it's a mental offering. He also says mental. It doesn't mean we hand it over physically to someone. It means when it comes in our hands, it's yours. These hands are yours. And what was handed, it's yours. And the fruit from it, it's yours. It's a mental action. And so we get the capacity, the ability to relate to this higher. It's just a mental action. I do this for thee. And the fruit of it is thine. And if you wish to offer me a candy bar, that's fine. Thank you. But I also recognize that the candy bar is made of you, that you gave it, that the real enjoyer of it is you. The digestive fire that digests it is yours. The laughing Buddha is you. Yeah. So, and here is freedom. where one actually comes to the place where they no longer sense a difference between you and joy, or you and God, or you and someone else. It's the most amazing. Where you're no longer even bedeviled by the idea of other and them, and they did or didn't, or all of that. Where life really becomes a flow. And that's when Krishna talks about becoming Brahman, this is it. This is it. It doesn't mean going off to an island somewhere, a Brahman island. Oh. Jai. Okay, we'll close. Questions or comments? Anything? Oh. This is a good discussion. It's always helpful when we bring up the things that are on our mind. It is. It gives Krishna an opportunity to talk with us. If we're shy inside and outside, then the teaching doesn't come. But if we raise our objections, it works so well. Because then Krishna will talk. Jai, it's a beautiful process. Oh, okay. Anything? Well, final prayer in Arati then, page 174. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshiyamamritata Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshiyamamritata Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Orvai Rukameva Bandhanan Mritor Mukshiyamamritata Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Shantu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyanto Mahakashi Dukhabhat Bhave Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Om Purnamida Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Universal prayer. O adorable Lord of mercy and love, salutations and prostrations unto thee. Thou art omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. Thou art Satchidananda. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss absolute. Thou art the indweller of all beings. Grant us an understanding heart, equal vision, balanced mind, faith, devotion, and wisdom. Grant us inner spiritual strength to resist temptation and to control the mind. Free us from egoism, lust, anger, greed, hatred, and jealousy. Fill our hearts with divine virtues. Let us behold thee in all these names and forms. Let us serve thee in all these names and forms. Let us ever remember thee. Let us ever sing thy glories. Let thy name be ever on our lips. Let us abide in thee forever and ever. And below Satguru Shivananda Maharaj Ki, and for all of the saints and sages of all the traditions. Let's stand for Arati.